So today we went to the beach and we asked everybody what they were riding and why, and this is what we got.
You! I just met Travis, super pumped. He looks like, have you been winging a while?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. Okay.
Actually, your videos got me into it. That's how I figured it out.
Very cool, very cool. So we wanted to ask you the most important question that we get asked so much, and we want to just share it. We're asking all the local legends. So you're our local legend here. So this is what we want to ask you. Why'd you choose this board, and is this what you started with, and how much do you weigh?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in Cocoa Beach, good breeze.
Yeah.
I went there. They had a great selection of gear. Again, I watched your videos, watched you and Gwen, and you guys were riding Cabrina. And so this is a 111 liter 6.2 Crossfly. I love it. Started on it. The balance was a little challenging at first. It has very round rockers, but I'm 165 pounds. I started with the 1600 foil with the 330 centimeter tail. And now I'm riding actually the 1240 Mark II. Love it with the 220 stabilizer. I've had this 6.2 wing. It's done me well. I have a 5 meter as well, but I love this full cab setup. The 90 centimeter mast, also the cherry on top.
A 90, you're one of the first that I've seen with the 90, so.
I love it. It's heavy, heavy in aluminum, but I love it. It's awesome for the ocean.
Next question is, one recommendation for any beginner first time on a wing foil. What's the number one thing you'd recommend to them?
I'd recommend a large board. I think that's the biggest part is the balance.
Now, when you say large board, volume's key probably?
Actually, I found it's not so much volume, but the width. Yes, absolutely. Because I have an 80 liter 4.7 board, and that thing is like balancing on a wine cork. And, it's really hard to learn when it's so, imbalanced like that.
We have Savan here, local legend.
Yes.
So we have an important question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
The biggest question in the industry right now is board. What did you start with? Why is this your board?
Okay.
Tell us to help somebody what do you recommend and why did you choose this board?
Well, this is my sinker, of course. It's a 43 liter. It's my pro and surf board also. For me, it was a challenge to be on a smaller board, but I like it because it's not too much as a sinker. I'm in between two waters, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm still on my knees, sting bug. And right now the wind is a bit in between, so more wind is easier for everyone to know that for sure. But it's doable. My all-around board is 85 liter.
So this is your light, higher wind sinker / prone board, and your light wind board is what?
85 liters, 5.2.
5.2.
Yeah.
And you choose that for light winds. Like, when's your threshold you switch?
Well, I think the sweet spot for me is 18, 20 miles per hour. I can go on a sinker, and I can go on a regular board too. It's just a change of pace. But either way, if you make life easy, stay on 85. But if you want to have it more feeling of the fall, catching the wave, I don't know if you're towing or not. It's like towing but you're on the wing. So I like to be on a small board, of course.
And the perfect example today that everybody makes a mistake on is you right now wish you were on the bigger board.
Right now I'm in between. I'm on my low end of sinker, but it's a good exercise, to be able to do it even on low wind and positioning your knees on the board, finding the balance, everything. It's repetition and.
All right, so we have another special, very important question.
Yes.
One of the top secret questions that everybody wants to know. What foil are you on, and why do you choose that foil?
Okay, I was kiting before, so I had the same foil, which is Armstrong.
Yep. What size?
It's 85 mast. Stab is 195, which usually I use 232. Today I'm trying that anyways.
He's going pro.
Yeah. just like you, Damien. I'm trying to.
We all are.
Yeah, of course. Pro riders. 60 fuse, which is my my go-to, and 1250 HS today, which is my high wind wing. Usually, I'm on if I'm winging, I'm on 1850, but but I like the 1250. If I can go on small stuff, it's more.
So your two front wings, 1850 and 1250.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And lastly, most important question: one recommendation you'd give to a brand new winger, what would it be? The one important thing that you could give to a winger?
I would say choose a front wing who keeps you on fall easily. I know everybody wants to be on a high aspect wing, but everybody is different, and make your life easy, get used to it, and then slowly change one thing at a time, and you can get into more high performance equipment. But I think don't cut it too close, because it takes the fun out of it.
Before you interview me, can I tell you something?
Sure.
I've watched a lot of your guys' videos.
Yeah.
I just started at the end of June, and you and Gwen are so encouraging to everybody. It really, when guys like you tell beginners you can really do this, goes a long way.
Oh, it's freaking cool. You made my day. Thank you very much. Cindy just came out of the water, and we're going to ask you the most important. First off, did you have fun?
I always have a spectacular time.
Okay. Most important question that we get asked all the time that we want to ask you, because we're trying to share a message with all the local legends and just give everybody as much information as they can. Why did you choose this board, or did you start on this board, and why is this your board of choice?
So I started on this board because my brother Scott, who's out there, this was his first board.
Okay.
And he sized down, so I did the
Perfect.
hand-me-down.
And do you know the leaders on this?
It's 117, 118. It's
Okay.
a 5'8".
5'8". And do you mind if I ask you how much you weigh?
I weigh 135.
Perfect. And then, so you started on this, and the next biggest question that we always get is foil. So what did you start on, and what are you using now?
I started on a 1950 with a 70 centimeter mast.
Okay.
Then I went to an 80 centimeter mast, and now I'm riding a 1600.
And our final question that we ask everybody is if there's one piece of advice you could give to any new winger out there, what would it be?
Just keep going after it. Even if you're doing it wrong, just keep doing it. Eventually something will work out.
I love it. And we'll just backtrack to the foils. When you went from the 1950 to the 1600, the reason you went there, first off, the 1950, I'm guessing, gave you just easy lift, really easy in the beginning to just get a feel and learn the sport. And the reason you want to make the transition to the 1600 is why?
Initially, I didn't believe I would notice the difference. And about 30 seconds after I started riding it in some chop, it was, compared to the 1950, it was like a hot knife through butter. I was so much more stable in the chop. I'm not going back unless it's no wind. And
that's funny because, and I'm not saying this is probably it, but when you get too much lift and you're pretty small, that you can now get uncontrollable with so much lift, that maybe that 1600 feels great.
It feels so good.
Well, we can't thank you more for sharing that information. It's so amazing to hear everybody's perception, because it really is leading down to some pretty interesting information. And to have you out here sharing this, and I think you're the only girl out today with like 100 wingers, and you're shining it for the women, and I think it's so spectacular. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm just having the time of my life out here.
It sounds like you really love it.
Oh, it's become like my taking over my life. Yes. My brother and I, we feel like we're 12-year-olds out here.
I love it. Well, thank you, and I won't take much of your time, but hopefully I can share the water with you.
Thank you.
I started on the board my sister is on right now.
Is a
5'8" code, 117 liters.
Okay.
I got the size of the board, not the model of the board, but I got the size of the board after watching your videos that are about a year old. Mm-hmm. So you guys were, I think, on macros and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I went with a liter range based straight off of that. That was the question, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's about the board.
Yep.
What about it?
We're going to dive into the foils here in a second.
Okay.
So
I learned on a 117 liter 5.8 code. And
Are you glad you went with more liter?
I am thrilled. And even though the small board thing is a thing, it doesn't have to be a thing until it's time.
I love it. Well, very well said.
Yeah.
That's what we were looking for is
Yeah.
why did you go there, and how much do you weigh?
150.
150. Perfect. Now the next question is the foil that you're on. Why did you choose the foil you're on?
Well, I am now down in smaller foils.
And what did
finally.
you start with?
Started on Fusion 1950,
Okay.
aluminum fuselage, aluminum mast, straight out of your videos.
Was it good
You
for
never-
learning?
You never said to pick that one, but it was. We could see one, and it was absolutely perfect.
It's really good at getting you up right away.
It could not have been more perfect. My sister is literally in the water right now on the 5.8 board. She does have a carbon mast.
Yep.
And she has now just moved down to the 1600 from the 1950, and it couldn't be any better.
Very well said. And you've upgraded obviously because your skills have improved, and
Yeah.
you are now on what and why?
Well, right now I'm riding an 85 centimeter mast on a 1240, somewhat high aspect 7.
And this is a Nash one.
This is a Nash Jet S26 model year.
Okay.
So last year's model,
Yeah.
and then some.
Yeah.
1240, approximate 7.2 aspect ratio. It's fast. It's not like super crazy. It's just right.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just right. Well, yeah.
And my last question is, if there's one piece of advice you could give any new winger, what would it be?
Let me think about that for a second.
It's a loaded question.
Well, so don't get caught up in the sexy gear hype. Just stick with a 100 and something liter board, depending how big you are. Stick with 100 to 130. Don't get sucked into the hype. There's plenty of time. You can continue to ride 130 liters with a normal aspect foil until it disintegrates, and it will be a blast.
I love it.
100% certain of that.
That is very well said, and I 100% agree. And I really much appreciate the following us. Look, that information is gold, and we really appreciate it.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Have a great session on the water. We'll see you on the
All right,
water.
Yes, that's
Thank
where
you.
I'm headed.
So we hope that this is helpful for you. You know, we know that some of you maybe are riding in the middle of the country, on the lake, somewhere where maybe you don't have a community. And so we wanted to bring this to you so you can have an idea of what people are riding and why they are choosing to ride this specific gear. You might be at the same spot where you are trying to get a smaller board, or maybe you are just trying to get your first board and you don't know what to get. So you should get some answer with this video, and hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the breakdown from different opinions, their learning curves, and so that's why we wanted to bring this to you and share this with you, because I think it's very knowledgeable and helpful. And yeah, feel free to leave your comments, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. Share all that information. All this is to help others just like you. We appreciate those that help, and we appreciate you for giving this a go. So enjoy your wing foiling. We always end these videos on a powerful note. So Gwen is gonna lead this one today.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, as much as we can talk about gear all day long, you know, the most important thing is to go out there. And, you know, sometimes we get stuck because we feel like maybe, you know, oh, this is not the right gear. It's hard because, you know, I don't have, you know, like my board is whatever, too old, to this, to that. And in the end, take this on as a challenge, even if you don't have the right gear. Know that, you know, later when you are able to get a newer board or a better board, you will be that much better because you put in your time with that gear that was not right. I mean, I started on like the worst setup, but I just wanted to start so bad. And so, like, it's all about putting the time. Don't wait until everything is perfect. To me, that is the saying, and you can apply that in everything in life. When you want to do it, go do it. You want to get into running, don't wait until you have the right running shoes, the right running shorts, the GPS watch, and all of that. Grab whatever shoes, go out there and start running. Slowly, you are going to get the right gear, but take this first step.
And I would say, adding on to that, I commend you because you've already made the first step. You're watching a video, you're trying to learn about this. Good for you. This is good. Hopefully we help. We're a little off, but we do our best to try to share a good message. And so good for you. And just keep it going, keep working towards it. More time in the water is going to make you better, whether it's riding on a skateboard, on the snow, on ice skates, on the water, you name it, playing with the wing on the beach. This all will help you to conquer whatever you want to do in wing foiling or foiling in general. So we wish you the best. We're here. Make sure to look at all the videos we have in here. We have tons of videos on everything you want to know, and we're just trying to keep it coming. And then what's beautiful is all you guys out there chime in and leave the most incredible comments, information, helpful tips. And that's so huge because really people go to the videos to read a lot of the comments to get inspired, to get the proper gear, to get the things that work for them if they weigh 250 pounds or 150. It's pretty spectacular. So we just want to say thank you guys. And on that note,
that's it.
Rock and roll.
We'll see you next week.
You!